The Rockets, in return for Eric Gordon, are getting John Wall. That is not a joke.
Like, the entire trade deadline is like all these homecomings. Like, first D'Angelo Russell returned to the Lakers, and who was there was a couple other ones where I was like, oh, they started there.
Dinwiddie back to the Nets.
Back to the Nets.
Pirtle back to the Raptors.
Right, and now I'm looking at this and going, so you go out on a podcast and you crap all over the entire organization. The only one you didn't crap over was Silas because you said he had no control. And now it's, welcome home, John. Come on back. You only can practice from 6 to 8 a.m. And you know all the clubs in Houston. You'll be going to those instead of games. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Obviously,
well, they know you don't, but at least they got rid of Eric Gordon. Oh, and they get Danny Green back because he's the young guy that's going to.
Well, I have the real lubrication of the trade. Danny Green's not. He's probably going to get bought out. If he doesn't, he's in the final year of his deal, so that's nothing of significance. Obviously, John Wall's never going to step foot in this city. It's going to be a buyout, much like Derek Fisher was a buyout. Tim McMahon says that the lubrication in this trade is that the Rockets will get rights to swap the Bucks pick with the Clippers pick this year as part of this deal. So you're looking at probably 10 spots in the NBA draft, which is significant. I mean,
if it's 10,
it's like, yeah, if it turns out to be 10, let's just say, like, right now, Milwaukee, I saw this from Ben DuBose, who just tweeted this. I haven't had a chance to do the legwork on this. I'm taking Ben DuBose's work here, but I'm giving him credit. I'm citing Ben DuBose, so I can't be charged.
Today's the first day you guys have a lot in common in my mind.
Why is that?
Because you're both homers.
I'm a massive homer.
I know, so is he.
I love the Houston Rockets.
So is he.
Huge. That's why I'm wearing my 1994
If you just
hat.
start bashing every umpire and referee, you guys are twins.
I will never do that.
Okay.
I'm an advocate and a voice for officials.
Thank God you won't.
But, like, if you just look at this trade, if you currently have the 28th pick because you have Milwaukee Bucks first-round pick, if you took this to the NBA draft and we're assuming that you still have Eric Gordon on the books, you would trade pick number 28 and Eric Gordon for 18? Absolutely you would.
Absolutely would.
Absolutely you would. Yep. So, like, this isn't...
Now, the risk you run is now the Clippers are better.
Sure, but are they going to get, with 25 games left, or they might close that gap. You might not be gaining 10 spots in the draft, but you might gain 7. Like, you trade up 7 spots by using Eric Gordon's expiring contract. It's still lesser than, like, if you were to trade him last deadline for a first, but this is fine.
That you can package to move up in the draft, too.
This is better than a second. Remember we were having the conversation the other day where I said I draw my line in the sand for a second. If you're telling me the best I get is Milwaukee second-round pick, I'd rather just keep Eric Gordon and send him home. That you were able to accomplish gaining potentially, like, let's just call it 7 to 10 spots in the first round, the back end of the first round, by using Eric Gordon as the trade piece to do that, I'm not going to call it a home run.
No,
that's a thumbs up.
It's a win.
It's a thumbs up.
It's definitely a win. I mean, look, they have 27 losses right now. They're one behind Phoenix, but conceivably Phoenix is going to go up. They're one behind Dallas, but Dallas is probably going to go up.
Kyrie looked all right yesterday.
He sure did. Sacramento has 23, so you're 4 back of them already. Sac could fall, but I don't know they're going to be 4 games better than the Kings.
How many games, Blankers, does Eric Gordon make them better? Like, it's not much, right? Like, significant, like, minor. I don't think it's that substantial of a move. If we think that Golden State's going to get Steph Curry back and make a move, maybe New Orleans gets Zion back.
I think New Orleans gets a wake-up call. They might have to make a move now because they were really comfy knowing that when Zion's healthy, even though they're in the play-in right now, that they're basically tied for the getting out of the play-in. And when Zion comes back, they're getting that boost. You look at the rest of the West now and go, we need another boost.
I'm not so sure that the Clippers don't go backwards into the play-in. So we're sitting here talking right now. The gap is 10 spots in the NBA draft. It's possible that it actually turns out to be 12 spots in the NBA draft.
Can I tell you where it's not the additions between now and the deadline? Where the Clippers could go backwards is the subtractions of how many times they give guys nights off. The biggest problem for the Clippers is they really like giving Kawhi and Paul George nights off.
Understandably.
Now's not the time to do that because it's so tight, and the fact that you realize the West just got better. So I don't know that I'll say this. I don't think the Clippers are done, and they shouldn't be because they still need point guard help.
I've heard they might be a player in the Russell Westbrook buyout market.
Yep, and I had heard the same. But I think under the same kind of set of parameters, I don't think they can afford to be giving those guys nights off anymore. Kawhi's going to have to suck it up and have to play a little bit more because they can't afford to fall backwards.
See, my point is not so much that the Clippers are going to be a worse team.
No, I understand.
But if we expect the Pelicans to be
yep.
better, the Golden State Warriors to be better, they could potentially climb and pass the Clippers, where the Clippers are in the play-in. I think that the range here, because right now it's 10 spots. Right now the Rockets have jumped 10 spots in the NBA draft coming up by using Eric Gordon as the sweetener to pick the Milwaukee pick currently. I think that the range is going to be somewhere between 7 to 12 spots. That with Eric Gordon,
that's fair.
Package with Milwaukee's pick, trading it for the Clippers' first round of the right to pick swap, I think it's going to be the range of 7 to 12 picks in the first round. That's not the worst usage of Eric Gordon at the trade deadline.
No, this completely trumps the massive haul that they got in the three-way trade for Frank Kaminsky. This actually makes some sense, and it gives them the opportunity to do something for the future, which I said their eyes have to be on. So, unlike the trade for Kaminsky and Holiday,
I'm not even.
This one actually has value and makes sense because every one of those spots is hyper valuable because we've seen this and how many times we've talked about the draft already for the NFL. But if you can move up a couple of spots or a player slides, and look at how they got Şengün. Şengün was supposed to be a higher pick. He started to slide. They pounced. They had some assets and resources to go get him, and they got a guy that's now a significant piece in your puzzle. If you can do that, every spot matters. So I will give you a win on this one.
10 spots late in the first round are huge. I mean, absolutely huge. Like it's way more valuable than a second-round pick or 2 second-round picks or 4 Milwaukee second-round picks. I like this move from the Rockets' perspective. And so far, what we know the Rockets have done, they've traded nothing of significance. They've added 0 salary for the future. Kaminsky can get out of his deal, it's the final year of his deal. It's an expiring contract. Holiday's in the final year of his deal. It's an expiring contract. Danny Green's in the final year of his deal. It's an expiring contract. John Wall's in the final year of his deal. It's an expiring contract. John Wall's never stepping foot in Houston. It wouldn't shock me if Danny Green never steps foot in Houston. Maybe he does, but
no, he
it's
won't.
the final
There's
year
no
of his deal.
way.
So the Rockets have added nothing of significance to their roster in terms of a salary cap point of view. They've added 0 salary in the future. They've taken a little bit of salary right now. They're adding a little bit of salary right now to this team. And what the Rockets have done is they've acquired 2 pretty early second-round picks from Oklahoma City and 10 spots in the NBA draft. This isn't like a knock it out of the park, grand slam, home run for Rafael Stone. This is a pretty good trade deadline for Rafael Stone.
This is substance because he did what I told him he had to do, which was addition by subtraction. More so than anything else, and everything that you mentioned is you got rid of the guy that was dragging you down at practice and every day and in interviews and everything else about Eric Gordon and his lack of fit and what's going to happen with him and the minutes and the shots that he's taken away from the guys that should be getting them and all the different things and him going out in press conferences and telling you how, some of the background that he felt like that the organization wasn't doing anything to progress. You got rid of that, and you had to do that. And in the process, if you upgrade it, and look, from an Oklahoma City perspective, they have such a surplus of first-round picks that they're going to, one way or another, they got to start, because those picks have to end up on your roster. You had to do something with a lot of them. And from a second-round perspective, they don't want any of those because the first rounds have more value, just like we were talking about. So the fact that they got some of those picks that maybe they would use better than what Oklahoma City could use too. Look, I'm always going to call it like I see it. And I believe that you're right. I believe that it's not a substantial win, but you can't say that it's a nothing burger.
Right. It's not a nothing burger. I mean, the Rockets have added 10 spots in the first round of an NBA draft. They've added 2 second-rounders, and I agree with you. The value of a second-rounder is not important, but I'd rather have them than not have them. They're lottery tickets, and they haven't added to their salary. Nope. They haven't added to their payroll in the future, and they've given
it's
nothing
fine to take it on for this year. I was going to say that, but as long as you're not taking on anything for future years with all the cap money you're going to have, then water under the bridge.
Sure.
Who cares?
And it shows Fertitta's willing to spend a little bit to buy second-round draft picks, which is cool, great. Like that's awesome.
I told you what Les used to do, right?
He was the opposite, wasn't he?
No, Les would be. Daryl would say, "Hey, I want the second round pick. I think if we get this guy, it'd be very good." And Les would say, "Well, what's it going to cost?" And Daryl would be like, $1 million. And he'd look at everybody in the room and go, "Everybody better go into their computers and get on their budgets, and we better be able to find a way to knock the budget down by $1 million to pay for this thing." Yeah. And literally, that's how it went down to make the trade happen.
713-780-ESPN. People are asking us on the text line, HRP listener line, why are the Rockets trading for John Wall? It's just to make the salaries work.
Yeah.
John Wall was not going to be a Houston Rocket.
Yeah, but
he's
with
going to
that
be on
salary,
the buyout
Jeremy,
market.
you would think that it has to be more. I know Danny Green had a double-digit salary.
But the Rockets, don't they have cap space where they can absorb the contracts?
Oh, that's true. It doesn't have to be within 15%. No, because Wall's still officially on their books.
No, Wall's cheap. Wall's out of that big deal. Wall's cap hit's only 6.5.